and then you want to go b5, take on c6, and create weakness for black, and continue pressing on this weakness. And if black tries to take on b5, then you take back, and they're going to have different weakness on d5. So you're practically playing against pawn weaknesses, against the pawn structure. There are many games played on a very high level. You can find this. There is a way, if you have the database and you look at on ChessBase, searching this database, you can find those type of position by the pawn structure. Well, you have to look at the manual, and they will explain. It will explain you how to do that. So b4 and b5, those are two different ways for white to play this opening, Queen's Gambit decline. And I personally have difficulties to give preference to one or the other. They are both equally good and both equally reliable. And the most important, it's not how good the opening is, because we are learning here the opening the easy way, the quick way, the express way. So then all you need to know, you have to get a reasonable position with the clear plan for the middle game. And here, in both cases, you got it. This is probably the complete analysis that we can have for, and a complete, this is the knowledge. That's what you have to know for Queen's Gambit declined. Now, let's d4, d5, c4. Now let's look at very popular Slav defense, d4, d5, c4, c6. Now, there are many different ways to play this opening. There are very ambitious ways for white with extremely rich theory, and we can make two tapes only on Slav defense. We don't have luxury of doing it. So I have to give you one quick system that you can learn right away, and you are out of this opening with decent position, and you know what to do in the middle game. The way to do it is not to go knight f3 or knight c3, which may lead to complicated position, and if you are not prepared well enough, you are good candidate for quick assassination. So c takes d is the way to get reasonable and slightly better position. C takes d, c takes d. Now we develop both knights in any order. Knight c3, knight c6, knight f3, knight f6. This is likely to happen. Okay? So this is the probably about 80–90% of the time, once you take on d5, that's what you're going to get. And now bishop f4. Your plan is simply to develop pieces and castle and play rook c1. Now, but you at the same time, you don't want black to develop pieces the exact same way, and then you get no advantage, and it's a draw. We don't want draw for white. We want clear position, maybe equal position. There is a difference between equal position and drawish position. Drawish position when it's draw, but equal position, where position is equal, but there's a lot of play. Anything can happen, equal chances. So it's not. Okay, after bishop f4, there are few basic continuations. Actually, maybe couple. a6 and bishop f5. Now, a6, that move that they started playing lately with the idea on e3 to play bishop g4, and then black plays e6, and they develop all their pieces. The idea is that black wants to play e6 after they develop bishop c8. They can do it by playing in this position, by playing bishop f5, which leads to somewhat complicated variations, which is you have to learn. You cannot have an opening repertoire without studying any of for the forced and sharp variations. You have to study, you have to learn some sharp variation, but you have to keep it to minimum, to as easy as few as possible, and keep it very, very low, the number of them. So the way you do it, so on bishop f5, let's start bishop f5, and then we're going to look at a6, and that will wrap the Slav defense up. So bishop f5, e3, e6. Now we have symmetry, 100% symmetrical position. It's known basically in the game of chess. When there is a symmetry, at some point, black, and as soon as possible, black must break the symmetry, because symmetry cannot be followed for too long, or one of the sides is going to be in a lot of trouble. e3, e6, now white goes bishop b5. Now there is a way to play for black bishop b4 that was played before, but after queen a4, white has an advantage. Now, we don't want to go into details of queen a4 move that was played by Botvinnik. It's many, many years ago. Look in the book and you will find quick answer to this. The main move in this position after bishop b5 is rook c8, and I will give you a quick update on it. After rook c8, white goes queen a4, and the main move for black is knight d7. That's what you find as the main variation after bishop b5. And I think wrongfully for long time, this position was known as good, or at least okay position for black. I don't agree with it, and here is the variation. Bishop takes c6. This is all known theory. Rook takes c6. We're going to go quickly through this because we don't want to make too many steps. And as always, this is the sharp variation, which is easy to check with any of the engines available, Fritz, I don't know, Fritz and Hierarchs or Tiger. Or there are many different programs that you can check it on. Queen takes a7, queen c8. Now this position is known as good for black because right now black is threatening rook a6 to trap the queen, and also black is threatening rook takes c3 to win material. White goes queen a5, and now black goes rook a8, then white goes queen c7, and black goes queen a8. It looks like black wants to play rook c6, and white may be in trouble next move because queen is going to be trapped here again. But there are several ways to play this position for white. The move is castling, and now rook c6 is not a good move. It looks like winning, it looks like white queen is trapped, but after knight to b5, black is in a lot of trouble. You may have no difficulties understanding why, and we don't want to go into further details. After knight b5, this is bad position for black. So what instead black may do is play bishop d3, attacking the rook, and trying to play rook c8 next, rook c6 next. Well, but then on bishop d3, we have also a variety of good continuations. So after bishop d3, now white has to move the rook. But the point